Yeah, good morning. Can you see the whiteboard? Can you see the whiteboard, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yesterday I had done revision up to activity diagram, right? So the procedural sequence model, advanced sequence model I need to discuss for a revision. So in a procedural sequence model, what we have two kinds of object. So one is we have a passive, and one is a active object. Two kinds of objects we have in a sequence diagram. So the objects will be in a passive state. So how do we recognize? So the object, you can see a small rectangle box if the object is active, or else what we can see a life, only the lifeline. So that will be not active throughout the object. So that is how we are going to classify the active and the passive object in a UML diagram. So next what we have a transient object. So in a transient object, what we are identifying, with one object, we are trying to activate the other object. So how do we do that? So when an operation is invoked, or when an operation is called from one object to the another object, so what happens automatically, the other objects will become an active state from the passive state. So that is how we are trying to activate the object. Next is a guidelines for a procedural sequence model. So for a procedural sequence model, we need to distinguish between active and a passive object, the first most thing, and we need to identify whether there are any lack in their own thread. So active objects will be always activated, but the passive objects will be activated based on the flow of control. So when the operation is invoked at that particular point, so the object will become active. Next we have advanced features. So in advanced features, what we are trying to implement the sequence diagram. Whatever the difficult implementations are there, all these difficult implementation can be done by using the advanced features. So next thing is special constructs in an activity model. So for activity model, what we are using for a special construct, we are using the sending and receiving signal. So for sending and receiving the signal, what we are using the pentagon symbol. So what this pentagon symbol will do? So this pentagon symbol will validate the signals and it will receive the confirmation. For that purpose, we are going to use a pentagon symbols. Next, we have a swim lane. So the swim lane is responsible for identifying the multiple tasks at the same time. So this swim lane has, the name is being taken by the analogy of a swimming pool. So where each and every activity is being partitioned using a column. So since each and every column looks like a column in a swimming pool, so the name is being given as a swim lane, and the example that we had taken is activity diagram for a swim lane is the flight attendant, ground crew, and a catering. So all these people are going to carry out their own work at the same time. And the next thing is object flow. For the object flow, what we are using, we are trying to use a object flow, how the object will be validated, or the arguments will be validated based on and what are their result, all these things will be taken care in a object flow. So that is what with respect to the chapter 8. Next, coming to the module 3, we have a system conception. So for system conception, we have taken a different concepts. So the functionality, streamlining, simplification, automation, integration, analysis, and globalization. So based on these things, what we are trying to do, we are trying to conceive the new concepts for the system. So how do we elaborate the concepts? So the elaborating concepts will will be indicated by using the questionnaires. So who is going to use the application? What are the different problems that the application is going to solve? So who is going to use it? Why? What is the purpose of the application? When this application will work, and how this application is going to work? So these are the questionnaires that we need to answer when we are trying to develop a particular system. So for that, we had taken an example of a ATM case study, and in a ATM case study, we identified who are the different types of users. So how the banking problems will be solved. So when the ATM software is needed. So all these things we had discussed. And next thing is preparing a problem statement. So how do we prepare a problem statement? The problem statement will be prepared based on the requirements. One is a requirement based on a design and implementation. So all these things has to be concentrated when we are conceiving a system. So when we say a requirement, so there are different types of requirement. So the for requirement statement, we are so for requirement statement, what we are using, we are trying to use a scope of the problem. One is a scope, and application context, assumptions, then the performance needs, and what is required. So these are the things that are required for a requirement statement. So next we have a design statement. So for design statement, we need to use a approach. What type of general approach we have? So next thing is algorithms and the data structures, architecture, what type of architecture that the system follows. Then if we need any optimization technique, that has to be utilized, and the capacity planning. Capacity can be in terms of the storage of data or the server, all these things. Next, we have a implementation requirement. So in the implementation requirement, what we can have, we need to have a platform, hardware and a software platform. On what platform we have? So one is a hardware requirement, hardware, and the software requirement, and the interfaces. So what type of interfaces that are required to develop a system? So these are the things that we need to understand when we are trying to develop a particular system. And next we have a domain analysis. So in a domain analysis, what we have considered, we had taken an overview of an analysis. So in an overview of analysis, we are trying to generate a different request. So the different requests will be taken care with respect to the users, developers, and the managers. So we have our developers. So request will be generated from the users, developers, and the managers. Okay, then we need to create a problem statement. So the problem statement, from the problem statement, what it moves for a analysis phase. So in an analysis phase, it moves for an analysis. So where it will be divided into two different categories. So one is a application analysis, and the other is a domain analysis. So from this analysis phase, we are going to try to build the model. So the next step from this, we are trying to build the models. So for building the models, how we are trying to build? So by using the user interview, using the domain knowledge, experience from the real world, and the related or a similar system. So by using this, we are trying to develop a model. So what are the different models that we are trying to develop? From this, we are trying to develop a class model, state model, and the interaction model. So these are the things that we are trying to utilize with respect to the domain analysis. And the next thing is domain class model. So in a domain class model, what we are trying to do is we are trying to analyze what are the different types of requirements that are required. So the first thing is the first step is find the class. We need to find the class for any application. Prepare a data dictionary. You need to prepare a data dictionary. Then after preparing the data dictionary, you need to find the association between the classes. Next, after finding the association, we need to find attributes.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, we are not getting that what you are writing there.
It is not visible.
No, ma'am. Only request users, developers, managers ಅಂತ ಇದೆ.
ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ.
No, ma'am. ಅದೇ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Just now I have cleared the frame. Is it empty, Rashmi?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we need to find the class for any application. So after finding the class, what you need to do is you need to prepare a data dictionary. After preparing the data dictionary, you need to find the association. After finding association, you need to include the attributes and attributes with respect to the objects and links. Then after finding the objects and links, you need to simplify the class. How do we simplify the class? By using the inheritance, aggregation, composition. By using those concepts, you can simplify the class. So next, after simplifying the class by using the inheritance, you need to identify whether the classes is going to exist the path. You need to test the path. So after testing the path, you need to refine or iterate the model. That is, you need to refine the model if any necessary changes are needed to be done. Then you need to consider the level of abstraction. You need to find the level of abstraction. Then you need to create the packages or group the classes into the packages. So these are the different steps that are necessary for constructing the domain class model. So those who have joined late, you can see in a chat box a link has been provided for a whiteboard. You can click on that link and join in that link. Okay, so these are the things that we need to try to find out. So the first step is finding the class. So how do we find the classes for our application? So we are trying to identify the different objects, so such as a machine, trajectories, persons, houses, payment schedule. So depending on the application domain, we need to identify the corresponding nouns. So from the corresponding nouns, what we need to do, we need to brainstorm and we need to collect, we need to list it out all the different names of the classes. So we need to prepare a tentative class. So after preparing the tentative class, so we need to eliminate the spurious classes. That is, whatever the ambiguity classes are there, those classes has to be removed from the list. So after that, what we need to do, we need to classify the classes into the different categories. So it can be a vague class, it can be a bad classes, redundant class, irrelevant implementation class, and good classes. So based on this types of classes, we need to separate all the names of the classes which we have listed out. Then whatever the good class names are there, only those good class names has to be retained. So after that, what we need to do, we need to try to identify the attributes and the corresponding operations that has to be identified. Next thing is prepare a data dictionary. So how do we prepare a data dictionary? Say for example, we have listed all the names of the class. It can be account. So what is that account? Whether the customer is having a single account, joint account. So you need to give the description. So like that, what we have taken a different names of the class for a ATM case study, right? It can be a ATM, bank computer, cash card, cashier station. So for all these things, so we need to prepare a data dictionary. That is, so what it actually does. So when you are preparing a data dictionary, it will be helpful for the end user or the next developer who is going to utilize the system. Next thing is finding the association. So how do we find the association? So association is nothing but a relationship between any class. So how do we create a structural relationship among the classes? So it can be classified as a physical location. So if it is a part of a physical location next to part of, so like that we are trying to name the association. So if it is a communication, then we are taking it as a talks to. So these are the examples that how we are trying to find the association. Next is keeping the right classes. How do we keep the right classes? We are trying to eliminate the irrelevant names of the classes. So all those classes will be eliminated and the corresponding association also will be deleted from the model. And next thing is we have a ternary association. When we are using the ternary association, we need to ensure that there is a proper descriptive and there is and the class has its own identity. Depending upon a ternary association, we need to identify, we need to compose the model without losing any sort of information. And next thing is derived association. So when you can have a derived association, say for example, we have a company, person, so we have a company and we have a person, okay, and we have a computer. Okay, so now the computer is from the company we can map to the, we can relate to the computer, and from the person we can relate to the computer. So this computer class is a derived. So whatever the relationship that we are associating between a company and a person, company and a computer, and person to the computer, so the association between these two will be taken as a derived association. Next thing is misnamed association. So sometimes the association may be irrelevant. You might have created an irrelevant association that has to be identified. Next thing is association end names. So how do we provide an association end names? So the end between the association of the two class will be given as a name which takes a name of that particular class. So using that end names, we are trying to identify the relationship among the class. Next is a qualified association. So for qualified association, what we are trying to utilize, we are trying to identify the qualifier attribute. Based on a qualifier attribute, we are trying to relate the class. Next is a multiplicity. We are trying to identify the number of instances that are participating. And the next is the aggregation. So aggregation is one of the main concern, which is a part of a association, or which is another form of a association, where we are using this as a, we are combining the different parts to make as a one individual object. So that is how we are trying to derive the association. Next is keeping the right attributes. For keeping the right attributes, what we are using, we are identifying the objects, qualifier, name of the attribute, identifier, attributes on a association. All these things we are trying to use. And the attributes can also have a values. That is, the attributes can have a default values, or the boolean, we can also use a boolean attributes, or the attributes can be of a enumeration type. So we need to define these kind of attributes when it is required. Next, we need to refine the inheritance. So the refining of inheritance will be taken as a two different things. One is a bottom-up generalization and a top-down specialization. In a bottom-up generalization, we are trying to search for the classes for similar attributes and operations. So we are trying to identify whether similar attributes are present, similar association are present, and operations. But when we are using a top-down specialization, we are trying to identify the phrases of adjectives of the classes. Depending upon phrases, we are trying to specialize for which category will it fall. Next thing is we need to identify the difference between a generalization and a enumeration. So in a enumeration is nothing but a listing of the types but the generalization we are trying to inherit the concept that has to be taken care of. Next is a testing the access path. We need to trace the entire class model and we need to identify whether all the classes are reachable. If any one of the classes if are missing or if it is not connected, we need to identify the disconnected classes and we need to try to connect. Or if the classes are overlapping, those classes has to be eliminated and we need to try to reconnect it. So that is how we are trying to use a class model. Next is the iterating a class model. So for iterating the class model, we are trying to use a different classification. So the first thing is we need to identify the missing classes. So there are various ways. So how do we do that? By using the association or a generalization, by identifying the attributes and the operations of the classes, difficulty in generalizing, and we need to identify the duplicate associations of the classes and whether the classes are having the similar names. Okay, next is we need to identify the missing the access path for the operations. That is, we need to try to identify if any associations are missing. We need to add the association if any attributes or the operations are missing with respect to the associated classes, that has to be identified and it should be added. And next is shifting the level of abstraction. So how do we shift the level of abstraction? So we had taken an example of a we have an individual coordinator. So from the individual coordinator, we have identified the supervisor. So from the supervisor, we have a manager. So instead of this, what we can take a class name as a person. We can take a class name as in this person class, we can take an attribute, we can consider an attribute as employee type or a reporting level. So by using this employee type or a reporting level as an attribute, what we can classify, so this person can be a boss or the person can be a worker. Like this, we can improvise the system instead of taking a different classifications of the persons. Next, grouping the classes into the packages. So the package consists of different elements. It consists of classes, association, generalization. All these things combined together, we can make it as a class. So for ATM example, we can take different packages like a teller. If we are going to take a package as a teller, it should consist of a cashier, entry station, cashier station, and the ATM class. So if we are going to consider it as a accounts package, so it should consider the account, cash card, card authorization, customer, transaction update, cashier. So like this, we need to list the different classes. Next, we have a domain state model. So for domain state model, so in domain state model, we have some steps to be followed for constructing the domain state model. So the first thing is we need to identify the states. Next, after finding the states, you need to find the events. We need to build the build the state diagram, then you need to evaluate. So these are the steps that we need to follow when we are trying to create the domain state model. So the first step is we need to identify the domain classes with the states. So already we have taken a class model. So from the class model you need to derive the different states. So from that different states you need to identify what are the different state names can be taken. So whether the states can be a normal, if we have taken an example of a ATM. So in a ATM example, we can take the states as a normal, overdrawn or a suspended. So like that different states can be classified. Next is a event, finding the events. So for finding the events, it can be like a external events. So it can be a withdrawal of a amount, entering the password. So if the password entered is repeatedly wrong, then it has to be suspected as a fraud. So like that we need to find the different states. Next thing is we need to build the state diagram. So how can we build the state diagram? So we have identified the classes, we have identified the different states and the events. So once the states and events has been identified, we need to connect all the states. So the connecting of the states, we call it as a transition. So if necessary, we can provide the guarded condition. Next is evaluating the state diagram. So for evaluation of the state diagram, so we need to identify whether there are any missing parts. So if we have not connected any states, so we need to indicate the missing parts and we need to connect to complete the life cycle of the state. So that is how we are trying to build the domain state model. So next we have an interaction. So for interaction model, we have steps, that is iterating the analysis, analyze the model, and restate the requirement. So these are the steps that should be followed. So in iterating the analysis model, we need to identify the problem statement. So what are the different applications that we have mentioned? So whether or the application, whether the problem statement is intact with the application, that we need to concentrate. And for refining the analysis model, we need to identify what are the inconsistencies and imbalances are there within a model. So we need to add the details in a model, or we need to restructure the model. So whatever the lacking is there, we need to identify the lack in a analysis, and we need to remove the unnecessary classes, association, everything, and we need to prepare for a good model. And the next thing is restating the requirements. So if necessary, whatever the requirements are there, you need to recollect the requirements. So that is what we need to do with respect to the domain analysis. So any doubt till here? Okay, next we will deal with the application analysis. So for application analysis, we need to follow the steps. So what are the steps for constructing the application analysis. First thing is we need to identify the system boundary. So once we have, then find the actors, find the use cases, then identify the initial and final state, final events. You need to prepare a normal scenarios. Then add the variations. Then find the external event. Then prepare an activity diagram. So these are the steps that we need to prepare for constructing the application interaction model. So first step is determine the boundary. That means we need to be whatever the system that we are trying to develop, it should be specific and it should be within a scope. You need to put up a boundary, and within the boundary you need to work. That is what the system boundary that we are trying to determine. Next thing is finding the actors. So how do we identify the actors? We need to identify who are the users of the system, who can be a part of the system. So you need to list out all the names. Either it can be a system, or it can be a humans, or it can be a, so even the softwares can be a part of the system. All these things can be called as a actors. So you need to list out all the actors. So once the actors are being listed out, so the next thing is you need to determine the use cases. So what is this use case? These are nothing but the functionalities. You need to determine the functionalities. So once the functionalities are determined, what is the next step? You need to relate the actors and the use case with the corresponding use cases. So for ATM example, we have taken a use case as a initiate session, query account, process transaction, and transmit the data. So for customer, we have initiated, we have taken a association between a initiate session, query account, and the process transaction, where the bank is associated with the initiate the session, query account, process the transaction, and the transmission of data. Whereas the consortium is related to all the four use cases. That means we need to identify which actor is associated with the corresponding use cases, that you need to relate it. So next thing is the initial and final events. So before any application is being utilized by any actors or any user, so we need to identify which is the first or an initial state that has to be identified. So if we are taking an example of a ATM has an example. So in the ATM example, initiate session is a first initial event that should happen. That means the customer should insert a ATM card, and the card has to be validated. So that is a initial session. So after initial session, so it will provide the login. The customer makes a transaction, and once the transaction is over, then what happens? The final event will be transmitting the data that has to be updated to the corresponding bank server. So that will be the final event. Next is preparing the scenarios. So the event has to be whatever the events are there. So all the events has to be written in a form of scenarios. Say for example, if we are taking a initiate session as an example, so in a for initiate session, you need to write the scenarios. So the scenarios will be like this. The ATM will ask the user to insert the card. So the user will insert the card. So the card will be accepted by the system, and it will read the ATM number or a serial number. And after reading the number, it will ask for the password. Once the password is being submitted, so it will validate the password. So these are the events that has to be carried out. So these events has to be taken care, or it should be written in a form of scenarios. So which will be helpful for developing a system. Next is adding the variation and exception scenarios. So we need to add the exceptions. So what are these exceptions or an errors that has to be identified? So sometimes the card will be inserted by the user, but the card cannot be read by the machine. So that is an exception. Or the card may be expired. So or the ATM times may be waiting out of the response. So if the communication line is down, then it cannot be validated, or the requested amount may be invalid, or the machine may not be providing the service. So there are various exceptions. So those exceptions should be added within a design itself. Next is a finding the external events. So what could be the external events? So inserting the card, getting the password from the user. So these are the external events. So those has to be taken care. So based on these scenarios, we need to design a sequence diagram and the activity diagram. So next is a preparing the application class model. So for preparing the application class model, we need to have a proper user interface. So how do we define, we need to have a proper user interface. That is the first step. Then you need to define a boundary classes. You need to define the controllers. We need to check against the interaction model. So these are the steps that we need to follow for our application class model. So specifying the user interface indicates two parts. One is the application logic and one is the user interface. So the user interface should be included in such a way that it consists a domain object, commands, and application options. Say for example, so how the user interface should be. It should be an interactive way, it should be unambiguous, and it should be clear. And next thing is defining the boundary class. A boundary class is a class which provides the stacking area of communication. So how the system will be communicated with the external resources, in what way the communication happens. So that has to be specified with respect to the boundary classes. Next is the determining the controllers. So for determining the controllers, we need to identify how the sending and receiving of the signal is going to happen within a system. That has to be verified with respect to the system. Say for example, if we have taken a ATM as a case study, in a ATM case study, so the sending of our signals will be the validation of the customer account, or giving the card authorization can be one of the major issue. And next thing is checking against the interaction model. So how do we check against the interaction model? So we have taken a different objects. So those objects we need to identify with respect to the domain class and the application class. So both has to be validated to maintain a consistency among the application. And the next thing is application state model. In an application state model, we need to follow the different steps. So those steps can be like this. We need to identify the states, events, build the state diagram, and check against the other state diagrams, check against the class model and the interaction model. So once we have developed the state model, we need to identify whether it is consistency among all the other diagrams. That has to be taken care. So any doubts up to here? And the next we have is the okay. So till here you are going to have for a second internal. Okay. So the complete revision I have done with respect to the module 3 and the module 2, that is from the chapter 6. Any doubts regarding